earthquakes of a similar magnitude to occur along the same fault line.
The risk of Jamaica, facing a big earthquake, is quite possible. I mean, the stresses that are released along the fault may just, move to another section of the same fault. So we can have a big earthquake just the same in Haiti anytime in Jamaica.
He explains that an earthquake with a similar intensity to the one that hit Haiti might not do the same damage here, but warns that there is some infrastructure that might not be able to withstand the intensity of the disaster.
A lot of destruction have happened here in Jamaica. I mean, a lot of our buildings are old. I mean, a lot of them are not built to code. The squatter communities, we fear that, those areas too could, landslide could take place. I mean, some of these buildings would just come right down.
Dr. Brown reassures, however, that if standard earthquake precautions are followed during the event, most of our buildings are solid enough to make survival possible. And in other news, Senior Director in the Debt Management Unit of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, Pamela McLaren, says Jamaicans have the power to collectively change the country's debt profile. She is referring to the opportunity presented by the government's debt exchange program. It involves the voluntary exchange of existing local government bonds for new bonds with the same principal value but for lower interest and longer maturities. Mrs. McLaren says the Jamaica debt exchange means that refinancing risks will reduce and there will be an easement of pressure on interest rates. The JDX offer was launched on January 14 and will expire on Tuesday, January 26. Only bonds issued prior to December 31 of 2009 are eligible for the exchange. No financial organization has been pegged to manage the Constituency Development Fund set up by the government to implement development projects in communities. That's according to Assistant Director Pauline Scott Blair. She was speaking at yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing in response to recent media reports. It had been suggested that Churches Credit Union, CCU, was being considered to manage the entire fund of the CDF. But Mrs. Scott Blair explains that the credit union and CDF are actually discussing a constituency revolving loan project for $6 million and not the entire fund. Under this project, constituents would be trained in small business management and given access to small loans they can use to build good credit and grow their businesses.
The project was approved on the 3rd of March of this year, and we've been in constant negotiations with churches to come to an agreement that is amicable for both parties. At present, the draft agreement is with the Solicitor General.
The CDF provided loans of $2.36 billion in its first year of operation. $823 million has so far been approved for projects in this fiscal year. $727 million of that amount has already been disbursed. Cabinet has appointed new boards to 14 government agencies. The appointments were made during the recent cabinet retreat. The affected agencies are Air Jamaica Limited, Bath Corporation, Devon House Development Company Limited, and the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission Appeals Tribunal. New boards have also been named for the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Jamaica Vacations Limited, the National Housing Trust, National Solid Waste Management Authority, and the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, River Rafting Authority, and Tourism Product Development Company Limited have also new board members. Meanwhile, 2 new boards have also been established. The Municipal Services Commission and the Parish Council Services Commission boards are awaiting approval from the Governor General for the recommended chairpersons. Cabinet has also approved the membership of the Enterprise Team for the privatization of the Norman Manley International Airport. The chairman is Christopher Zaka, the special advisor to the Prime Minister. Some 10 presenters are confirmed for Legal Aid Saturday, where members of the public will get free legal advice. It is this weekend at the Randy Williams Entertainment Center in St. Andrew. Presenters are drawn from various bodies and agencies, including the National Housing Trust, Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, the Administrator General's Department, and the Legal Aid Council. In an interview with JIS TV, Executive Director of the Legal Aid Council, Hugh Faulkner, says all Jamaicans, irrespective of background, are entitled to free legal assistance.
Part of our mandate is for the public to be aware of our programs and what is available to them. And Legal Aid Saturday seeks to provide information to the public. And you will find that an informed public will be better able to access justice.
Legal Aid Saturday is the first such event hosted by the Legal Aid Council, an arm of the Ministry of Justice. And those were the stories making the news today. For more information, please visit our website at www.jis.gov.jm. Stay with us. Jamaica Magazine continues. The year in review continues now with a look at the work of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in 2009.
In 2009, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade sustained Jamaica's ongoing efforts, particularly in the international trade arena. This was to secure market opportunities and improve capacity and competitiveness. It also continued to build partnerships, cooperation and collaboration with long-standing and new partners to ensure that Jamaica's national interests and development are advanced for the benefit of all Jamaicans. We now focus on some of the major activities of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in 2009.
I, Marlene Patricia Malibu Ford, do swear.
Prime Minister Bruce Golding in July last year announced the appointment of Marlene Malahoo Fort as a Senator and Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. In commenting on Ms. Malahoo Fort's appointment, the Prime Minister said she would bring value to the work of the ministry at a time when the global challenges confronting Jamaica require intense and strategic foreign policy responses. As part of its response to the global and economic crisis that has crippled the productive sectors of many countries across the world, including Jamaica, in 2009 the ministry intensified its efforts at promoting trade and investment in international arenas. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Dr. Kenneth Baugh, at the UN high-level meeting on the financial crisis in June, spoke on behalf of Jamaica and the developing world. He emphasized the importance of an increased voice for this grouping, particularly in an important council such as the G20. The minister also called for a review of the situation where Jamaica and other developing countries are categorized as middle-income countries, precluding them from special consideration in terms of development assistance and financial cooperation. Throughout the year, meetings and visits to foster cooperation continued to be the main features in the ministry's work. The hosting of the Ministerial Meeting of Latin America and the Caribbean on Integration and Development, CALC, the 28th meeting of Foreign Ministers of the Rio Group, and the inaugural Future Leaders Diaspora Conference in Kingston were just a few of those meetings. The Latin America and the Caribbean on Integration and Development and the Rio Group meetings at the ministerial level were held simultaneously at the Rose Hall Resort and Spa in Montego Bay in early November. Participants included some 33 Latin American and Caribbean countries and 10 regional organizations.
Jamaica was greatly honored to have hosted these meetings as part of the process of strengthening cooperation, integration, and development of the region for sustainable development and a better life for all our people.
Jamaica's application for membership in the Rio Group was ratified by acclamation at the ministerial meeting, making the country the 25th member of the prestigious hemispheric body. Jamaica will continue to represent the interests of CARICOM in the group. During the meetings of Latin America and the Caribbean on Integration and Development and the Rio Group, Jamaica signed a bilateral air services agreement with Mexico. This will allow for improved air transportation links between the two countries. Earlier in the year, Foreign Minister Bo and his Spanish counterpart, His Excellency Miguel Angel Moratinos, signed a similar air services agreement between Jamaica and Spain. Under the agreement, no limit is placed on the frequency and capacity of